Is it some devil that crawls inside of you?
Stop saying the N-word before you hit record. We were literally just going, seeing who could say it more faster. Speaking of N-words, no.
That's an intro.
All right. Welcome. I'm sure you've been here.
Dude, I don't even recognize it. I saw you I met you 10 years ago.
I know. Oh my God. So I have a funny.
Is it recording?
Yeah, it is now. So we can start whenever. I'm not the one who hit record. That's not how I'd conduct my fucking show. But is this for him? Headphones?
Do you guys both want to be on the couch, or do you want to be opposite?
I don't know. Can you reach my dick from here?
I'll sit opposite.
He's like, I'll go over there. It's been a while.
You could reach from over there. I'm not that cozy. Oh.
Yeah, give him the most uncomfortable chair in the fucking place. That'd be
used to
awesome.
This
Used to
is
it?
the dick mic too. So
Yeah. Nice. Or
Man.
the fart mic.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the dick mic. It
What
looks
kind
like
of
a
people
cock.
listen to this podcast?
Is
Is it just a bunch of boners? Is it just 12 to 22 boners that live in Lompoc?
You know what? No, actually.
Because I mean,
13 to 23, actually.
all girls.
Oh, age range? Is that? Oh, I thought you just. I think he means like the quantity of people is like about 22 people. No.
Hell yeah! Did I actually guess it? It was the 22 people.
Maybe 4 years ago.
Where are we now? I'm already part of it.
A couple. You are.
30 seconds in.
Yeah.
Where are we gonna take this venture?
I don't know. Fucking couple hundred.
Okay, so you were my introduction to Lompoc.
I'm sorry.
No, it was a pretty good one, but lo and behold, I found out Lompoc's got a thing.
Oh,
Like
what's the
people who
thing?
live in Lompoc, you guys have a fucking weird thing about you.
Yeah, we fucking
Yeah.
do.
Like,
Here's the
you
thing.
have
I'm
a-
from Nipomo, though. You can't
Okay, well that's
do
why
that.
we got along.
Yeah.
Okay, so we drank the same inbred
Water, tap water.
Yeah, what is it? Fluoride water that's in Nipomo that makes it. I don't know. It's like a brand of humor that's not necessarily good or by any means acceptable now to nowadays standards.
I do the comedy show first Fridays of every month in Lompoc. It is funny. Don't listen to this man. Listen to the Bad Etiquette podcast with Dallas Bronson. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, no. You're right because there was this
It's a style of
conflict.
humor. You know what I'm talking
I do
about.
because there was a fucking conflict in a friend group. This chick from Santa Maria was hanging out with our friends, and she was like, "I don't get this fucking Lompoc humor." It like because she was on the outside, and then she started dating one of them, and then she was on the inside, and she's like, "I get it." And she like succumbed to it.
No, but it was you and Zach Honeycutt that were my introduction to Lompoc.
Horrible examples because we're both transplants. Even though I was born there, but I grew up in Nipomo.
Well, I mean, you guys were nice. You were the nice guys. But then I've had other run-ins with people at Lompoc, and there's it's this weird like you guys it was the same type of friendliness where it's like, wow, we could almost be best friends right away. But then it's paired not necessarily with you, but it's like paired with like this weird defensiveness where it's like they're on the offense, they're ready to be on the offense already. And aren't there it's like 3 gangs in Lompoc, right?
Yeah, there's VLP.
There's 3 gangs.
Yeah, there's I can't
and an
remember the other two
insane
right now.
fatality rate for how small the population is. Like, wasn't it like 3 years ago some woman got beheaded? Wasn't it? Where were you reading?
Yeah.
No, wait, was
yeah.
it
You know what?
we went to
That
your
was
guys' gig in
wasn't gang related. Wasn't gang related.
No, it was some old woman, wasn't
Yeah,
it? Some old woman got fucking stabbed or like had her head cut off or
I
something.
guarantee, like, her granddaughters or grandson or someone's like listening to this right now, like, oh, cool, thanks for bringing that shit up.
When hey,
No, okay,
hey,
but
you
anyways,
made history.
here's the thing: is it's cold, it's shitty, everyone there is there for military or the fucking prison, so they're all these derivatives of like hard people or upset people. And it's windy, and there isn't shit to do. So
It's true. It's like you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of like a Stephen King town because it's like this little bubble town.
100%.
That's
I
isolated.
make this
It's always
fucking comment
weird
all the
shit was always going on in Lompoc.
It's exactly what it fucking reminds me of. I think of it when I'm driving down into it as I'm going into like Castle Rock or something. Like it's totally a fucking because it's gloomy and it's violent and it's really nice and fun to
It's
go
also
out
really
on the
pretty
night.
in some areas.
And it's very pretty in some areas. And it's gotten super fucking cool nightlife now. They have the Wicked Shamrock, Cold Coast. Shout out to Cold Coast Brewing Company. Lompoc. I'm fucking
Wait, they do
obsessed
like
with
concerts there now, don't they?
them. They do shows there. And then Jasper's. So there's this like little triangle of like bars in the area, and the brewing company and the brewery, and it's so much fun now. And the dive bar, the Wicked Shamrock, used to be a fucking dive bar. I remember my mom telling me about this guy who came in from the emergency room with bandages over his bullet wounds, ordering like a drink and like showing him off.
Yes.
And now it's like the social event place. They have like events every fucking week. They got like whole new staff and management. This is people, Cheyenne, Sarah, Katie, and then a bunch of other people. They fucking just crush it there.
That's awesome.
I had one of the bartenders, Sarah, on my podcast a year ago, and that was I think it was the 100th episode. That was a fucking good ass episode, and I love what they've done with the place. And I'm just being defensive, just like you were saying. It's coming out. It's coming out. You damn it! They got me.
No, there are a lot of good things about Lompoc. I didn't say it was bad. I just said it's a thing.
But yeah. All right.
Oh
Thank
boy,
you.
Come back
That's
anytime,
great.
Dante.
I think.
It's his place. Come back anytime.
Well, you gotta exert your dominance over Dante sometimes, or he just won't.
He told me he's into it, so.
Yeah. Well, he's yeah. It's like you picked it up already.
I understand. He cool guy. He has a nice deep voice for a skinny white boy.
Yeah.
The mic doesn't like you. That'd be funnier if it was on camera. Everyone knew you just got cucked by your own.
Get the camera
Are we on
out,
camera?
No.
No.
Oh.
Yeah. So you don't have to worry. Like no one's gonna see the swastika
I'm
armband you got on.
I'm really proud of it.
Well, and like that's part of the brand.
Hey, welcome to my show. Thank you for agreeing to do this.
Thanks for letting me
He
on the
fucking.
show.
I thought you said I thought you said thanks for letting me finish because you were talking.
What did you say?
I don't even know what the thought was.
He said thanks for letting me be on the
Thanks
show.
for
But
letting
okay,
me
so
be on
this
the
was
show.
so let's get background on this. This is Jonathan's idea. He confronted me about having you on
Via text.
via text, and which is good because I haven't had like a guest lined up for January, but I was texting him about the 4th anniversary is at the
You've been doing
end
this
of the
4
month.
years?
4 years, yeah. So I'm not with someone who like just was like, oh my god, all these people are getting really popular on TikTok talking to porn stars and their douchey fucking podcasts. I hate those fucking things. I've actually just been like a huge proponent of podcasts and sharing fucking good conversation and wisdom and weird people. So my brother bought me a microphone for Christmas in 2017, sometime around then. And I was like, oh shit.
You got the voice for it.
Thank you. I didn't at first. It
I only
definitely-
listened to a little bit of the one of John.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for even doing that. I really
Well,
don't
I wanted to get a little bit of
anyone
a feel of like what I'm going into, and yeah.
That's good. Yeah, fucking.
And what you're like
recon's
you're tight with
important.
Chris Lambert.
Yeah. Good. Good friend of mine. I haven't seen him in a little while. I miss him. I hope I can. I'm supposed to have him on, but there's also a part of me that's like, you're way too big to be on my little dick joke, poop joke.
You should
Podcast.
go be on his pod. Doesn't he have a podcast?
He did, and I was, and that's kind of what.
It was the Kristen Smart one, right?
Or
Or is that its own podcast?
That was a
It
separate one. Yeah, it was a
Would have been
separate
a
one.
great episode anyway. Kristen Smart and just pooping, peeing dicks in the middle of it.
Well, that's pretty much when he came on to promote the Your Own Backyard podcast. Came on to mine. And
Oh, it was your
I-
own backyard. That's what it was. And what's good? What's the deal? Anyway, oh yeah, we keep going.
Oh, thank you. Just I don't even know where I was going, but thank you for being a guest, the first guest of the year on this
fun.
podcast.
Oh,
It's really
okay.
exciting.
Thanks for having me on. It's fun.
Absolutely. This is cool. I absolutely probably would have inevitably got to you. A fun fact: I blocked him on Facebook.
You did?
years ago.
That's
Years
awesome.
ago.
Why?
What did you do?
So he didn't do anything wrong. He was just being himself and shared something, and I was being a pretentious little like.
Well, you still use Facebook. That's part of the problem.
Agreed. Well, here's the
I've
thing.
I remember watching you go off on Facebook going like, oh, he thinks that he's doing something here. It was like you and Zach Honeycutt, the Lompo kids. That's where I got this thing.
Yeah.
You guys would get
Yeah.
into these like long comment thread wars.
Oh yeah, that's ancient
Like
history.
I remember,
too.
I know that's
That's
fine.
funny
That's
as
fine.
hell.
But this is
Yeah,
my recollection, dude. I remember
bring it
Zach
up.
Honeycutt like after David Bowie died.
Oh damn, 2016.
Yeah, dude. R.I.P. We're on the 7-year anniversary, I think, of it. Just passed it. R.I.P. David Bowie.
Damn.
I remember. I don't think it was in response to me, but I was one of the people he was referring to when I posted. Did anybody? It was right after David Bowie died, and everyone's like, "R.I.P. R.I.P." You know, it's like they do the thing, and I just posted. Did anybody even listen to Black Star?
Oh yes.
And it's great. It's a fucking great record. That's all. But I remember him posting this really like almost like overly emotional status about like, why are people trying to gatekeep these dead celebrities? It is time for us to be grieving. It's like, dude, it's not your fucking aunt. It's like David Bowie. You do not know David Bowie. You're not gonna grieve. No one's fucking grieving for David Bowie. They're like, oh, I like that song. Oh, he's gone now. I'll never.
I was
meet him.
heartbroken. And I didn't, not even a huge Bowie fan, but the part of it was my friend Joel Gum showed me Black Star the week of.
I had just gotten into Black Star.
So
dude.
I
That
was like,
kind of my
which isn't
introduction.
something I didn't listen to music that was new. David Bowie, I was just like, okay, at least he's like classic. Like I love David Bowie's like older stuff to hear once in a while.
And to be fair, he hadn't made anything that was that like substantial
in a long time, from what I hear. So
and that last album
I'd
was a fucking banger.
Yeah, and the fact that he did it and knew he was dying, and you have those themes threaded
And then
in
he
those
died
lyrics.
2 days after it came out.
Oh my god, dude!
Fucking
That's what
like
fucked
our
me
boy
up.
Boner right there, just
Fucked
like,
me
oh
up.
my god, so deep,
Dude,
you know?
he's fucking epic. Oh shit. Yeah. Anyways, so
You blocked me on Facebook.
you said something cucky, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry.
Wait, was this in 2016? I think
No, it was before that.
I said something cucky. What did I say?
I don't know. It was some like male feminist stuff. I'm sure. There's just something that I was just like,
Oh, I did
no
go through. That's
way.
fair because I did go through a phase.
Me too, and that's why I'm apologizing to you, man.
That's
I'm so
fair
sorry.
because I did go through a phase where you probably did the right thing. I went through a phase where in order for me to
Get laid, you had to
get
pretend to be.
no, the thing was I actually believed it too. It wasn't
yeah,
like I like
yeah, we did. We all did.
I thought
We
I
all
used to
did.
believe that I was way more alt left just so I could
Yeah.
get with the Manic Pixie Dream Girls because I would always fall for them, you know.
Are you making
work
fun
out
of
for
me
you?
right now?
And I would be convinced that I was way more like alt left than I really was. And then at some point in the turn of like maybe 2019, I realized I had this like moment of waking up and being like, I don't believe any of this shit. Like I'm glad I'm practiced in the ways of the woke now to
Right.
where
Yeah.
I know I won't say anything that will get me canceled. Not that I'm popular enough to be canceled or anything. That'd be a good problem to have if you think about it. I was listening to your podcast. Someone told you like you getting canceled would be like the best thing for your career.
Zach Honeycutt.
Oh, was it exactly?
Yeah, he was like, "You getting canceled would fucking be the best thing to happen to you." You
I
piece
said
of shit.
something cuck. I really want to know what it was, but it probably was something. It probably was something really stupid because I was really bad at the Facebook.
You know what? It was just something
Facebook.
white knighty, and I was just like, I remember commenting. I had like a departing thing because I had a lot of respect for you because I always saw you at shows, saw you at shows. We have the Nipomo video store connection.
Oh my god! Yes, I'm sorry. That was really good.
No,
I was
dude,
like, I forgot about the Nipomo video store.
I literally have been tinkering around in my head about starting a different podcast called Grey World. Just
Dude,
about movies.
I forgot that you actually are from Nipomo.
That's right, bitch.
You remember Grey World,
Dude,
that guy was like, I'm pretty sure that guy got busted. The owner of Grey World.
He moved to Kansas. What was his name?
No, but he had gotten some like heat. Like he was maybe I'm not supposed to be saying this because I think the person who told me this in confidence. I don't
Well,
know.
you can't even remember.
I shouldn't be,
so
and I
just say
shouldn't
it.
be like spreading misinformation anyway.
Oh, well, get off this podcast because
Yeah.
that's all we do.
No, I remember like there was just like always a weird vibe, but I'm pretty sure he was like messing around with like underage girls or some shit like that. messing around. I'm not sure if he was assaulting them, even though I guess that's. But
He was just like tweaking their nipples a
Yeah.
little. He was just like, I got you. Just, giving them bean dips.
kinda
Look, you got titties
it's
now.
like the DJ with the knobs kind of thing. It's like just slightly adjusting the treble on.
I like you breaking down molestation
Imagery.
like that. That's
There
very
we go.
sweet.
You're good at that. You're good at that.
Great Rolls shit, but I was friends with Christine, who owned
Yeah.
when she renamed it to Hometown Video. Okay, you remember
Yeah,
that?
Nipomo Old Town Video. Yeah.
Yeah, Christine was the shit.
Yeah, she was. God, I remember her.
She
fucking,
probably still is. I don't know. I haven't seen her in
Yeah,
years.
I haven't seen her since it closed. Because I used to go there all the time, and I would just buy movies from the video store that they were renting. I was just
And
like,
I
can
think
I just buy this? And
you
I
did
still
come
to
in
this
while I
day.
was working there.
Absolutely.
And we were
Yeah.
both always baked.
I was never baked.
I
didn't-
was always
didn't-
baked when
You
I
were
worked
straight edge
there.
for
I was
the
straight edge.
longest time.
I didn't smoke weed till I was 23 years old.
No, that's probably responsible. It's probably better for you.
I think maybe. Hopefully, like
That's
I
why your
saved me-
brain is probably working fine.
I
Like you seem well adjusted. You were like an unhinged type. Like I always felt like we were kind of kindred spirits in a weird way because like you were like that unhinged, like really like charismatic, entertaining guy, but probably always kind of putting his foot in his mouth. You probably,
I was like, where is it? Where is it?
But you probably cared less about that than I did.
About me being
About like when you put your foot in your mouth,
Yeah,
it's,
I wasn't embarrassed or ashamed of it.
you weren't
because-
embarrassed by it. That's the difference.
Yeah, I wasn't mortified. Like I might be now because I definitely have like a little bit more.
Oh, you're an
like,
adult
mature level.
now.
Yeah,
it's
that's
like-
what they call.
And that's the anxious part because it's not that you necessarily care what people think about you. It's like when you are able to zoom out and see yourself as like an almost 30-year-old man
Yeah.
behaving that way, and you think if I was witnessing a guy my age behave this way, I would think, "Fuck this guy."
Exactly.
And I realized, like, oh, maybe I can't act that way anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, maybe there's certain jokes that it's weird when a guy who's like 30 years old makes them because it's like it doesn't feel funny. It feels like a threat.
You know what? There's a time and a place for it, and I will say that I'll see people who are like in their 40s and 50s, and they're just in their community of like comedians where they'll tell those jokes and they'll be like that, and I'll go, well, thank God there's hope. I can still be myself when 20 years from now.
Well, it all depends on the execution. The only way you get good at the execution is trial and error.
Ooh, well, let me tell you, I had an air last Friday. I fucking or 2 Fridays ago. Bombed. It was great. It was a graceful
Who'd
bombing.
you bomb to?
Fucking Lompoc.
Was it but how big was the room? How full was the room?
I don't know. How big is this room? Just kidding.
If you're in front of
it was
5
stages.
people- if you're-
rehearsal studio in.
Okay, so that place is still going.
Yeah.
Okay. I think the last time I was there was January 2020. I saw Dante's band,
What's his band?
and they're called Ocean Air. They have a record out.
Oh,
Maybe
really?
we can listen to.
Ocean Air?
We should use that as the sequence music. We
Yeah.
should just
That would be great. That would be great.
yeah. And it was my friend Daniel, his band, the Silver Tongues, and then like 2 other bands whose names I don't remember.
Oh, Daniel. I went to.
You know,
I went to
Daniel
elementary
Medeiros?
school. Daniel.
You know Daniel Medeiros.
Yeah.
Dude. Yeah.
Dude, I remember
Yeah,
he
he's
was
also
Tiny
kind of-
Tim at the melodrama.
Yes,
when
he
I was a kid. Nipomo, bitch! I'm getting my fucking Nipomi cred
Dude, you're,
right
you're
here.
really flexing your Nipomo cred right now,
That's
but
my
it's
developmental
good.
years, my primary years.
Dude, dude, honestly, mad respect for anybody who comes out of Nipomo and does anything that's not just a shitty day job.
Damn.
Damn. What do you do, John?
Pursue my dreams.
Okay. I wouldn't tell people either.
He plays Minecraft.
It's my dream.
Say it on the podcast.
It's Skyrim.
That was a secret.
Well, he's married. He already is not getting laid. He can say
Hey,
mine.
that's
Actually, I
not
think
true.
he's getting
It's
laid. I
scheduled.
think he's
It's
getting
scheduled.
laid at the. It's always planned. It's never spontaneous anymore.
It's on the calendar right by the bed.
It's like you flip 2 months ahead. That's the next time you see it written in. No.
Wow, 2 months. That's pretty nice. You are.
Well,
doing a
actually, if
little
you think
better than
about
some
it, if you
married
waited
people.
2 months to nut, it would probably be really nice.
Probably. I tried doing no nut November, and
How'd that go?
I just came on my pants a bunch the whole month. It was horrible.
Like while you were sleeping.
I
It's like
wish.
you were
I
so
love waking. Oh, just like
you were
getting
so
a
not in
restful-
control of it that you like your body just like had to serve the function by itself.
Do you? Yeah, like I don't. What are they called? Wet dreams, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nocturnal emissions. Do you guys ever had those?
Have you?
Oh yeah.
I just once when I was 11 years old and I was like hitting puberty. It was very-
Do you remember the dream?
oh, it's so embarrassing.
Oh.
It wasn't
put-
sexual at all.
Oh man.
Oh, was it your mom?
I said it wasn't sexual at all.
Oh, okay.
It was your mom.
'Cause I had a fucking my mom dream before.
yeah, dude, they're horrible.
Yeah.
I've never.
No,
wa-
I forced myself to wake up.
I
but-
didn't look or like hug my mom for years after that. I was just
Oh,
like,
I got
"There's no
over
way."
it. I knew she didn't take it personal.
Yeah, no, yeah, fucking. I had one of those like in 8th grade, and I was just like, I never want to be in the same room alone with you ever again.
Well,
Good
you know,
God,
some people
gonna
think
die.
there's always like meaning to dreams, so it's like more metaphorical than it is literal. You know.
Yeah, well, God, I hope so. I hope my subconscious isn't like, damn, she's looking good tonight.
No, I think. Well, do you remember falling in love with your mom as a kid? Because I do. I remember like the first woman I loved was my mom because that was the only woman I knew.
That's super sweet.
And then I remember like seeing like a Reader's Digest magazine at like 3 or 4 years old, and there was like some woman on the front cover, and I just registered it as my mom.
You associated like
Just like oh, pretty woman, that's my
yeah.
mom. And I
Like the
remember thinking,
matriarch of
I
it.
will marry. And I forget, I had childhood friends who said the same thing. They just thought they were going to marry their mom. That's what you do. Like you
kinda
think
sweet.
that's what you
Sounds
do.
really
You just
sweet in,
marry
like,
your
a
mom.
innocent kid way.
Like I don't know
Yeah.
how that would work. Like eventually, just dad like disappears,
Dad.
and then you take on the role.
Like he's definitely gonna be at work. I think I'll have time to marry mom. That's funny as hell.
Man, but nowadays, you know that if incest was cool, you know, polyamory is a thing. To
Yeah.
where you know
Yeah.
you could help mom like clean on the side, bang, while dad's at work, and then when dad gets home, you fuck off, and then they, you know,
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Whatever.
Or you and your dad can Eiffel Tower mom and fucking have a whole.
that's true, and that's father son time. It like brings a whole new meaning to catch, you know, with father and son.
Oh God!
So
I told him to, you know, keep his eye on the ball.
Yeah.
His eye was on my balls. It was horrible.
well. I don't even know how to transition out of that now, but Nipomo water, guys.
Yeah, Nipomo water.
That's what we're drinking right now.
Absolutely.
Oh, this is much better than Nipomo water. This is a Firestone Union Jack IPA. I'm not a huge IPA
Don't
guy, but
sponsor them. Don't sponsor them. Don't. Do you want them to sponsor you? Or is that
No.
what you want when you
I
read it
don't-
out loud?
I don't get sponsored.
That was like you were like doing like an ad just now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See
you
how
said
good he's
you
getting at
said.
this?
I like being very like analytical and literal too. And like,
This is what I. It's a Firestone IPA.
It was more just like
Brought
for
to
my
you by-
own. Firestone Union Jack IPAs
They're
coming
from-
at you.
Aren't they? They're established in Paso, aren't they?
Yeah. All right.
Tascadero, Paso.
I think it's Paso.
Is there a fire? There's a Firestone in like Buellton, right?
Atasco Robles.
Atasca Robles. That's
Atasca
pretty.
Robles.
I never want to hear that again. That was too fucking clever.
Are we technically still in the intro?
No, I don't
This
have
was
a.
great.
What do you have intro music?
I do.
We do.
Because we just gotta like sample Dante's band.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
We could do it during if we take a break.
Yeah, like a little break.
Or
Honestly,
the outro.
outro. Yeah, we can outro that way.
Actually, we should just sample the one little guitar riff that's like almost like kind of like the Adam West Batman, you know?
Like in Family Guy. Hell yeah. Always ripping it off.
Well, so you blocked me on Facebook, and that's why I never heard from you again. That makes sense. I haven't
so
heard from
sorry.
you since you blocked me on Facebook.
You got it coming.
Since since I white knighted, you know. To be fair, I got laid and I never heard from you again. So there might be a correlation between like an improved sex life and you being gone.
I mean, I've heard that a lot, mostly from ex-girlfriends, but
Oh, that's good. Oh, well, yeah. So what?
there's a lot more to that comment than I realized.
Yeah, no. I was like, damn. Well, she's like, maybe you're just like a. You ever felt like you were
Like, good luck,
phased?
Chuck.
Have your taste in the women you are attracted to? I'm assuming it's all women. No offense. Maybe to whomever you're attracted to has the type of person changed over the years, like every personality type.
Great question.
That was so clunky. I didn't understand the question.
Okay,
at
let's
all.
rephrase it again
Yeah,
one more
try
time.
it again.
Okay, think about like when you were 18, type of girl you were typically attracted to.
Yep.
Now let's fast forward.
His ex-girlfriend. When
Yeah,
I was 18.
Eskimo brothers.
Oh man. Oh, what's up, brother? I'm sure we're Eskimo brothers somewhere down
I
there.
think
too.
we actually are Eskimo brothers. If my theory is correct.
Yeah,
but,
let's keep their names
But we're not
off
gonna.
the
We're
air.
not no names on here. No power. We're not giving them power or a platform.
Yeah, they already saw me quiver and fucking shake and toes curl. I don't need to make them feel any more powerful.
You did what now?
Nothing.
No, let's go. And okay, so has your type of personality altered in the last 10 years? The type of person you're attracted to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like
What type of girl were you attracted to when you were 18?
when I was 18, I probably would have fallen in love with all these like it's really weird, like all these like alternative like goth emo chicks.
Manic
are, like,
Pixie Dream
that's
Girls.
like popular now. What'd you say?
Manic Pixie Dream Girls.
Well, that's what I was. It was Manic Pixie Dream Girls.
Yeah.
I was dating a Manic Pixie Dream
Yeah.
girl, his ex-girlfriend.
I've dated a few.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me too. I'm fucking
It's like
nightmare.
it's an endless pursuit. It's like a mythological quest.
It's a horrible pursuit.
And the thing
is
about
bad.
it, it's like you ever read Once and Future King? A lot of those knights from the Round Table, the majority of of the knights from the Round Table, most of them are all pretty shitty people. And the whole point of the Round Table was like, well, these are all warriors and they're all kind of shitty, but maybe if we are all kind of held accountable with this kind of like meeting of like of a moral standard that we're all supposed to meet, maybe we'll all improve how we operate. But what ends up happening is that most of these knights end up still being pretty shitty, and most of them fail at all their quests. But that's the part that no one ever like really mentions when they reference King Arthur. That it's like most of the knights are all just kind of like shitty men, just failing at failing.
Man, I feel like a knight at the round table in life.
Well, I think there's something I thought that was always kind of beautiful about that when I read it, because like there's like the myth of King Arthur, like, which is usually like, oh, a great king, whatever. But actually, most of the story is him failing, and Lancelot especially. Like they all kind of fail, and
That's
and I'm
beautiful.
sure therein lies a lesson somewhere.
I mean, honestly, it just like really perpetuates the romanticism of like going to work every day and not you're not achieving your dreams, but just there's this great quote. I want to say Hemingway. Excuse me if it's not him. I'm not really read up on him, but life is just the shipwreck of our plans or dreams, and I think that kind of correlates to these guys failing constantly, not getting their dreams.
Yeah, but
and
he was
just
also
being-
like a misogynistic pig, I'm pretty sure. So that makes sense that he would think that, because he made it that way. He wasn't manifesting the right destiny.
probably.
God, fuck.
I like that you used the word right in the middle of manifest and destiny. Made it totally
Oh, yeah.
apolitical.
The right destiny.
Yeah, the correct destiny.
Absolute truth.
Yeah, there's. Do you believe? I'm not gonna go. Do you believe that there's an absolute truth?
I mean, it's not, no, I got nothing.
Okay,
don't know what
we're not
that's
touching
referencing.
that.
I don't know what that's referencing. Is it
Like we live
final
in we live
solution?
in the age of like my truth, like objective truth, don't you think?
No,
In a way,
idea
no.
what
Oh,
that
you
means.
don't believe that?
I have no idea what you mean by that.
When objective truth, like everyone
Everyone experiences the same thing.
No, everyone has their own experience, but and no experience is necessarily wrong.
Well, that's bullshit.
Personal example, would you like to pull from an anecdotal life experience?
I didn't know this is your podcast. Yeah, we can do that. Sorry. Yeah, babe, I'm on it. Let's find something. Yeah, like sometimes you think you're going to spend the rest of your life with someone and you don't. And you're like, damn, that was the wrong truth. That was a false, not a
Right,
truth.
but that was an expectation, though, and that kind of goes
So
with,
if I said anything, you would have just fucking boom with that bullshit, wouldn't you? You little fucker. That's just an expectation.
not necessarily, but
Take
like
that tweed jacket off right now.
It kind of goes. It's cold in here. It kind of goes with the type we're attracted to, because a lot of the Manic Pixie Dream Girl stuff for me was always based off of this expectation of what I wanted out of a partner, because it kind of fit this like.
That's the 500 Days of Summer expectation versus
Right,
reality.
it's the immaculate projection.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, well, I mean, I think that's like one of the.
Because we're kind of sold that too.
Yeah. And unfortunately, like you like fall for it and you buy it. But I think now, excuse me. Firestone Unijack IPA making me burp on the Bad Etiquette podcast. So I think like it, nowadays probably just into like a confident, ambitious woman, likes to, go outside.
That's good.
That's
actually pretty big. And when you think about it, when you say it out loud like that, it's not asking a lot of someone.
Nope. So I mean, some people beg to differ. So and sometimes it's hard to find them. And sometimes,
well, that's good.
Sometimes women don't want to be those things, just like men don't want to be what women want a lot of the time.
Well,
and I know I've been exactly that, where I was like, I'm gonna be the antithesis to what your expectations of men are. I don't need to go fucking get a job and get a car and take you on dates and buy you shit and be like this. And that's what I was like when I was into Manic Pixie Dream Girls. I wanted to be scum. And I used to just try and subvert whatever expectations they had for like a mate, like a man that like, I don't know.
And then would they end up walking all over you?
Only when I asked them to.
Oh,
They had to wear a certain kind of shoe though.
good answer.
No, I'm way too much of a misogynist to let them walk all over me the whole time.
you can be pretty misogynistic and get walked over. Isn't that what an incel is?
I think. Oh yeah.
I feel like just girls just walk all over me. Dude. I do everything they ask me to, and then I don't get the sex, kind of thing.
That's like a what is it?
I
Chastity kink. There we go.
Oh my god. Yeah. So I had this one roommate that was talking about one time. This is bad. And to the three ladies that listen to this podcast, my mom included.
I was gonna say you added a lady there. There was only two before.
I was gonna say this isn't. By no means was this okay. I want to make that clear. But I remember him saying something about like buying dinner. Like we were talking about buying a girl dinner. I'm like, yeah, but like, what do you buy dinner? Like, is that just what you don't buy dinner with the expectation of getting laid? He's like, oh, you mean like, and he goes, you mean baiting the trap? I'm like, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, yeah, that's what person who I won't name said. Like, he said that's kind of what that is. It's just baiting the trap. I'm like, that's probably like a mentality you should probably erase from your head.
That might be the wrong.
That might be the wrong way of looking at it. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that's probably not healthy.
Blocked. White knight, fucking cuck, blocked. No, but seriously, and that's where I probably follow into like those kinds of mentalities where it's like, no, dude, like women, this is gonna sound so fucking gay, but women rock. I like a lot of them. They're really fucking cool people. Some of my favorite influences or favorite storylines and books are about women, and they're actually dynamic people and three-dimensional characters and fucking have a capacity to, make even a dumb caveman like me, like, intrigued. And having the bait and trap kind of mentality is a lame fucking way to go about getting laid, because you can just say what I just said and get laid way quicker and way
I don't
better.
know. It was pretty it was pretty postury. Kind of felt.
Was it postury?
It felt kind of forced.
Nice try, Dallas.
I tried.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Anyways.
No,
I can't feel anything from my waist down anymore. Anyways.
Well, so I got blocked.
You got blocked. How does that feel?
Blocked. I'm not not surprised.
I know. I was gonna say you're not surprised.
I'm not surprised, but also another part of me is like from 6 years ago is still kind of like, yeah.
This is why you don't have a platform.
Yeah, you blocked me. But why didn't you just talk to me about how you felt?
You know what? Ooh. I didn't have the emotional maturity back then. I was still into Manic Pixie Dream Cunts.
You could have said, "Hey, I'm concerned about the direction you're heading in with your mentality." It seems
because I didn't have that, but I'm still. This is something to address. Is like
because I had friends who said. So I had some friends who said the same thing that you're saying, that was what they saw me doing, but nobody vocalized anything. But it probably would have saved me a lot of trouble if somebody had been like, "Hey, dude, what? Ever since you started going out with her, we won't say her name. You've been kind of like, And the thing was, it wasn't really me.
Yeah, and your friends know that. And what I was doing was not being your friend.
Yeah.
and that was the wrong choice. And I didn't have the emotional maturity or the life experience to differentiate back then.
To be fair, wait, was this about the thing I posted about the sausage party not being funny? Because I still don't think that sausage party was funny.
No, this was literally like 2014, 2015. Like this was pre. This was
did I own whatever thing I posted?
maybe.
Was it like, did I win with my comment? Because I have a feeling you only block someone when they win.
Oh, that's not true.
That's true. Okay, then
I was
Unless
very
it's so cringe.
liberal with my blocking. Anytime I was just like, gross, get these people. I want to see these
Get
fucking
off my
people's
page.
names anymore.
This is my page. I don't want to see that on my page.
Yeah, and it's fun. Now you can just mute people.
You know what that is? That's you creating an echo chamber for yourself.
And see, that's where he's right. Like it's absolutely fucking toxic where people will do this and they'll create their own echo chambers. And I've caught myself in it, and I'm like, oh, like sometimes I'll be scrolling and I'm like, I'm just getting the same.
You're getting the same
opinion
affirmation
from
you
7
want.
different pages. This is stupid.
Just like the woke warriors, dude.
Awful. And just like the woke warrior.
But the difference is I have a feeling like you probably are more like you'll probably get shadow banned and I won't.
Oh, I'm definitely
like
been shadow banned. It is horrible to watch. I don't know if I'm shadow banned or people are just like genuinely don't like me and they're like, well, no, we just don't like your posts or view your stories anymore.
I don't know. You seem pretty likable. How many people do you think within your in the immediate vicinity do you think that you've pissed off just by posting online?
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I thought you're the host. I'm the one asking questions.
Dude, hey, you know what? No, absolutely. Someone said they wanted to interview me on the podcast, and I was like, that'd be really nice because sometimes I have guests on and they don't ask me anything and I have to ask all the questions and then they fucking like, oh well, since I'm here to talk about me and have all these stories about myself, and then I'm just sitting there like and then I have to sit and just cut in jokes and just fucking undermine all their emotional processing and therapies that they're getting with me for free, these cocksuckers.
Well, isn't that what the host did? So
what was your question?
I had a similar experience. Okay, so I spent all of December sober because I was trying to kind of recalibrate like just my approach with myself and like kind of like spend some time get to know myself. I had a lot of breakthroughs. Like it was like for the first 2 weeks, like every day I had an aha moment. And I remember I was at this one restaurant where this one waitress works who I had a crush on, and I was talking to her. And when I got done and I go back into my car, I had this all of a sudden this realization of like, she didn't ask me anything about myself the entire time. She just talked about herself. And I realized like, I would have had that thought had I not taken this like time to be sober and like set like new standards for myself. But that's like a pretty standard to have. Like if you're gonna like be interested in someone, you'd want them to at least say like, what about you?
Yeah.
After they like told you their whole life thing for 5 minutes. But no, what about you?
It's toxic. And I try to catch myself if I do it too, because I don't want to perpetuate it. And I love being a good listener and actually like taking things out of people that if they're dying to talk about, they don't know how to facilitate it.
Right. But that's something I normally would have gone and followed, like pursued, and not even realize
the crush on her.
But the crush on her thing. But after that, I realized like if that's where we're already at, that's how it's gonna be. It's gonna be just take. You know, just like just constantly, just like
how much of yourself are you gonna give for this fucking broad?
No, nothing comes back.
Yeah.
In that exchange. And that's not even like a guy thing. It's just like anybody thing. It's like a friendship. I had friendships like that too, where it's like you spend the entire time being in the other person's movie.
Oh, dude.
You know, like those. And I still
Jonathan.
have an affection for. I still have a. Yeah, I know exactly.
He's just a fucking like
dude.
He's great.
He's
supporting
just a
cast
black
member.
hole of personality. It's like by the time you walk away from him, you don't know who you are.
Oh my god, he's insufferable sometimes.
Yeah.
I try to plan out our podcast and I just get anxiety for weeks.
Because like all you end up
until
saying
then.
is just, John, shut the fuck up.
Oh man,
I barely talk.
God, you'd make a great wife.
Oh, thank you.
It's your femininity.
Thank you.
What was your question before you spoke about being sober for December? Do you remember? Sorry about that.
Thank
Ryan.
you for like that was well you remembered where we started from. Very stream of consciousness with me.
Yeah, I know, but it was also a personal investment because you were asking me something, so I was like, let's get back to me now.
What about you?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was something, I don't know, something addressing. Dead space.
Well, how did your month of sobriety end?
Oh, because people don't ask you about that was all it was. That's the only reason I even brought up my
Was that the
month of
only thing you
sobriety.
took from that? That's pathetic.
No, it's not.
No, there was a lot of takeaways, but that was the only one that I remember that was relevant to the conversation at hand. Was like the person you're invested in should be as equally invested as you are.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't feel like that's gonna expect that to be either it's gonna already be there or you can't wait for that to develop.
Right.
Yeah. And that's just a friendship.
It's a time
in general.
saver for sure.
It's a time
If
saver.
you start picking up on those little bad idiosyncrasies.
But I want to remember what my question was for you before that. What were we talking about beforehand?
I don't know, because you asked me something and I was like, oh my God, that's so nice. Like,
It was the
me, no?
personality change throughout.
No,
No, too
that
far
was a
back?
little too far back. Bad
Damn, too
producer.
good at this.
Fired. What am I paying you? It's down to nothing now. Is what I'm just saying.
Negative. I'm losing money.
It's all
this.
good. So what do you do now outside of this? You're a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. I mean, I
You obviously have a day job.
I do.
You look like you do manual labor. You look like you're built for manual labor.
Are you calling me Mexican?
No. I mean, he could fool you.
Into thinking he's
Yeah.
white? Yeah, he can.
Yeah, he can sneak
I'd
by.
let him into my rally.
But then
I'd
that-
give him a tiki torch.
But then you.
Infiltrate.
But that's the whole thing. He's slippery.
Yeah, like a Mexican.
Why do you guys both make that joke?
What are you talking about? I'm the only one who made the racist joke. Anyways,
You make that joke.
Yeah, we all make that joke. That's why it's acceptable.
I'm an electrician for a company I can't mention by name now.
That's good. That's good. We don't condone stereotypes here on bad etiquette. Well, it's just bad etiquette, guys. Come on, grow up.
That's the kind of built-in excuse I had for being able to just like put my foot in my mouth, kind of thing, too. To
Right.
circle back to that comment you made. But
Do you don't? But there was a catchphrase that you don't use a catchphrase on this show.
what is it? At the end of the episode. Is that what you're talking about?
Was there an actual catchphrase?
No, but I was high at recording a solo episode, listening to a live Black Sabbath record, like on a vinyl. And I was ending it, and I was just like, "Where the fuck are you?"
Oh,
and
yeah!
he was like, "Dude, I love that. You should end every episode like that." And then I started doing it. And I started doing it with guests, and it was really uncomfortable, a little awkward, and I just kept doing it anyways. And then I just had to stop. And I even was like,
Isn't that the line from BYOB?
"Oh, I don't know." Wait,
By
yeah,
System of a Down?
it literally is.
Where the fuck are you?
Yeah, and I didn't even fucking. I was just listening to that song like 2-3 weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's so weird." I used to end my podcast with that. I wonder if it was like implanted in there
Right.
from System of a Down,
Subconscious.
like this whole time. Yeah. Anyways,
I missed that.
Fuck, I really wish I could remember what I was gonna ask you, man.
no, it's totally.
I really
fine.
didn't want
This
to be
is-
the meme monster, but
No, what are you talking
so
about?
so I'm a musician, a singer songwriter.
I'm trying.
Got
to get,
two
I'm
albums
trying
out right
to get
now.
that. Hey, yeah, you
Plug.
So Noah Colton, is that your you just are a singer songwriter? Have your own?
Yeah, I've got solo material
stuff.
for my singer songwriter sad boy stuff, and then I got a band called Dead Magic.
Dead
Which
Magic.
I think you'd really like.
I believe you. Dead Magic is a great name.
Thanks,
you
man.
used to be in the band, have a band called
Called Sex with My Mom.
no.
No,
what is
terrible
it?
reference.
No. I know. Fuck.
This was part of the problem.
Stop.
This
I
was
got
part
it.
of the problem with the name, though, is that it was
Oh,
very,
good point.
that's why it was always problematic. And then you typed it in, you always got that Dave Matthews song.
Oh, it's a Dave Matthews song. Okay. Spaces Between.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Spaces
Oh, I got
Between,
it,
you got
bitch!
it.
Oh, fuck!
But then people would always end up saying spaces in between.
Yeah,
Which was
yeah.
honestly a better name.
And you're like,
that we
fuck,
should have gone with.
should we
Like,
just
but we had already
change
done
it, not tell anyone?
No, it was too late. Because it was a Miles Davis quote where he said, "Music's not the notes; it's space between the notes."
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Man, he was fucking high as balls when he said that. He was on some fucking good heroin.
Oh yeah, he liked the age.
Yeah. What?
So when did you even think you were going to be a musician? Like, when did that start? Because some people, like I wanted to be a professional skateboarder when I was 10 years old. I still skate to this day, but I ain't never been a fucking pro skateboarder. But when you're
Did you think you were going to be a pro skateboarder?
for a couple of years, I was like, oh, this just is going to happen one day.
When did you get? When did you just let that go?
When I saw Flip Skateboard's Extremely Sorry come out in 2008 or 2009, and there was these kids, essentially, Louis Lopez, Curran Caples, and Luan de Oliveira, and they were my age or like younger, and they were doing tricks that I didn't even know were possible.
Right.
And it was exciting to watch, but it was extremely... I was about 14 years old, and it was very enlightening. And this is like when you have a lot of realizations when you're hitting puberty and you're like, I have sentience in this world, and things are not how they seemed when I was younger. This is one of the moments where I watched this amazing follow-up to the previous two videos they had called Sorry, Really Sorry, then Extremely Sorry, and this legendary skateboard company. And these fucking kids just blew my mind, and I hated them for it, and I was like, fuck. So I became a little depressed after that.
Well, being an athlete is a whole... I mean, I'm sure it's a case by case, but being a skateboarder, especially, that's a really tough one. Because how many skateboarders... I'm not really into skating, so maybe I don't have like much place to even be asking this question, but how many skateboarders do you see going pro versus the amount of musicians you see go pro?
I mean, I think I know more talented musicians that...
Because you can do music when you're an old fart. You don't see I mean, Tony Hawk doesn't really skate anymore, does he? Like,
he does, but he fractured his pelvis, and he didn't let it heal, and now he is walking with a cane for a little longer than he should.
Yeah,
be.
you don't bounce back at a certain age.
Yeah, I mean, sure, you bounce on your back, but...
Yeah, you don't, but you don't just go, oh, and wake up the next day and be like, okay. It's like...
Yeah, and that was something big that happened, is there was a lot of injuries I had. I was always getting hurt. I was always a kid who was getting hurt, and there was just all these little setbacks where I was like, fuck, I can't keep up with this the way my friends can. This sucks. And they would progress, and so it just, But how old were you when you began playing guitar, at least?
I started it.
It's a Tangerine White Claw. Just fucking drink it. What is the issue? You're on a podcast. Let me talk to you, baby.
I thought there was more. I never got passion fruit.
There's beer in the cooler outside.
I was 14 years old. I know I was 12 years old when I got into the Beatles, but when I was 14 years old, I saw this concert of Van Halen, the Van Hagar years. Didn't matter. I'd already picked up bass guitar because I figured it was easier than guitar.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted to be Paul McCartney, and then I saw this video of Michael Anthony from Van Halen just jumping around, and I thought, well, shit, I'll do that.
Yeah.
Because if I do that, everybody will like me. And it's still the same mentality I have, because at that point, I remember a band like Van Halen, and still to a certain degree now, seemed just like...
Larger than life.
Larger than life, exactly. They seem like superhero, like you can't touch, like they're mythological creatures.
Yeah, like they're upper echelon,
yeah,
outside.
Just like you'll never touch that. And that, in my mind, I never thought that would be a problem. Like, well, I'm 14 now, so in 10 years I'll just be that good.
Yeah.
But 10 years
because 10 years when you're 14 is like, I don't remember 4 years old. I have an entire dynamic life to have.
Exactly. So by the time by the time I was 23, I had spaces between have just broken up. I had a falling out with the guy who was in the band. He was getting into drugs. The drummer quit. Blah blah blah. I still have a record from that we never put out that I'm hoping to recover at some point this year or next year. But it exists somewhere on a hard drive. Anyway.
Wow. That's exciting. I want to fucking hear that.
I started this thing where I'd kind of been noodling around a guitar a little bit, but I never really put in the time. But there was a shift that happened around the year 2016 for me when I started kind of like parroting songs in my head, kind of making fun of other music I didn't like. But then I realized like I actually like what that is.
What you're making it into?
What I was making it
that's
into,
fun.
right? I was like, well, that's kind of cool because then it sounded like bands that I actually liked. Because these bands that I would always be like kind of parodying in my head, they would be mimicking like, oh, post garage, like, oh, we like Nirvana. It's like, yeah. Then I'm like, and then they have a drum beat that does this, and then they have a bass line that does that, and then I'd stop and actually like think about the bass line and the drum part. I'm like, actually, I like that, and so I kept going with it. And when I could just
good that you like your creativity.
Well, it was because I realized like that's a real thing, and so I would follow it out. And like, luckily at the time, I just happened to move in with my girlfriend. She had like this multi-track recorder, it was like called a Zoom Tascam kind of deal.
Yeah, I got one.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. It was something like that you plug into your. It wasn't that one, but those things are dope. I love those things.
That's what I do the podcast on.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so she would just let me like while she was at work, I would just make demos on her deal, and most of the time I'm humming most of the parts and then using an acoustic guitar to play what would be electric leads, things like that, and spent so much time into it that like it was this new coming out of Spaces Between. It was like I finally let go of the thing and then realized like, oh, there was all this potential already within me, because for years Spaces Between was like a codependent relationship where it's like you're with the one girl, you think like, well, once if I lose her, I'm nothing kind of deal, like the way when you simp out when you're that age.
Yeah,
it was the same thing with Spaces Between. You know, I let the drummer talk really degradingly to me because I was like, well, if I got to be in a band with him because he's the best drummer I know, and if he's gone, I don't know what I'll do, how I'll make it a music kind of thing. But then, you know, it's just low self-esteem bullshit. And I even now I'm still working through a lot of that stuff because I understand that's not really anybody else but me. But I remember discovering that there was all this music that I was able to tap into, that was like all this creativity that I had. So I spent a year and a half just kind of cultivating that, and a certain turning point happened where once I had enough songs, I just assumed that, well, I believed that these songs were so good that anybody else was going to think that they were good, and that it would be really simple just to get them recorded. But lo and behold, that's not how it works.
Wait,
surprise,
how does
surprise.
it work? That made sense to me.
So years later, okay, that was in 2016 when I wrote like the first 5+ songs, the 5+ songs that now exist currently. That was in like the summer 2016. December of 2018, I'm living in Los Osos. I probably had just gotten COVID. I'd eaten a bunch of garlic because my friend's like, hey, come meet me at Nardoni's. I'm like, I can walk right down the street. Even though I'm about to get sick, I just ate a bunch of garlic. It's before, like, you would never dream of doing that now. It's crazy how quickly that changed. Like, to do that is like you're basically saying I'm about to commit a jihad on an entire restaurant. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. It's just like, but I'm like, oh, I'm fine. I'll be okay.
I actually do manual labor, and I go to work with COVID once a year.
Right. But you're
Twice a year.
But you're outside probably, or in a house that nobody else is in.
That's true.
Regardless, I was walking to a crowded restaurant going like, I'm getting sick, but I'll be fine. Yeah. Like, it never would cross my mind back then that like, I have to stay in my room for 2 fucking weeks. Anyway, I go to Nardoni's while I'm getting sick, reeking of garlic. And there's this dude sitting across the bar that looked familiar. And I was like, that guy looks like somebody I went to Nipomo High School with. I at first thought it was like this guy I knew named Marshall Brown? Is that his name?
That was.
You remember Marshall Brown? Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was
Marshall
Marshall Brown at first. I'm like, oh, that guy looks like he could be related to Marshall Brown. And then I'm keep going. And then he goes, hey, are you Noah? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, oh, I'm John. I was Caleb Park's friend. I'm like, oh, you're that kid that ripped on bass better than me. He's like, yeah. He goes, you still play music? And I'm like, yeah, I do. He's like, what about you? And he goes, oh, I'm an engineer now. Oh, shit. I've been aching to do a rock record. And I was like, bro, I've been sitting on a rock record for almost 4 years. And then COVID hit, but about 9 months later after that, we finally got together and started recording these songs. Once I started recording the songs, I figured if I put the songs out, I can get the band together because the music will just be so good that there's going to be musicians that will want to play it. So while we were recording this first EP that took over a year, like about 16 months to do.
He works fast, doesn't he?
Well, here's the thing. He works fast. The faster he works is the faster you pay him. It's crazy how that works. Yeah. It's crazy how that works.
Just cucked right there.
Yeah.
It took me like way too long to realize
To be
when you
fair,
said
he-
John,
he
you're
was
talking
totally-
about Jonathan
No,
right
no,
here.
but to be
Because I call him
fair-
J Lo, so I don't even fucking.
Well, to be fair, J Lo did still kind of like cut me a deal. At some point, like we were still doing 40 an hour. He goes, "Okay, I don't want to keep charging you per hour." I'm like, "Well, why not?" He goes, "Guys, it just doesn't feel right." Like
That's nice because
It's
he's
nice.
what,
Like-
what he's doing is putting the value on the relationship of what you're doing.
I think he was cutting his losses, realizing like it's
yeah. That's what I was trying to get
He's
to.
like, we're
Thank
already
you.
almost at $3,000, and this motherfucker obviously does not have $3,000 or won't. And
Yeah, he was looking at your outfit and he was like, "I can't charge you because
yeah, exactly.
I don't know any loan sharks to come find you, motherfucker."
But actually, I'm still paying off. Like I had to just open a credit card with Sweetwater.
Oh, you're talking about the microphone?
He had me buy him the microphones. And I'm like, "Well, I need to build credit." He goes, "Well, I need these microphones. You want to buy those microphones for me, and we'll call it good?" And so I bought him the microphones. They're about the same price of what I owed him. Nice. And they're more than halfway paid off.
That's why
at
he
this
gave
point.
me some like old hand-me-down shit. That's great.
I know. It's because he believes in you. He
I'm
wouldn't
not
do it if he didn't
imaginary.
believe in you.
I think he's having his doubts 4 years in now. No video.
Well,
I
think
can't believe it's already been 4 years.
it's healthy
know.
for him to be having
Fucking
doubts.
disgusting.
You know,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's true.
and everything that's good should come to an end. Otherwise, you end up like shows like Simpsons and South Park that should have stopped like 10 years.
You know what? The
know.
recent South Park's really good over COVID.
I would have
like
been
the-
happy if they had stopped 10 years ago.
That well, I would also.
You know
be-
when they made Stan a cynical asshole? It felt like the show was moving to an end at that point.
That's fair.
And I'm like, know what they should do? Just have like the creator of the whole show should just come down and erase them.
Whoa.
And then they kind of did that later when they made fun of like the whole adrenochrome thing.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
elites.
Yeah.
It was they kind of broke the fourth wall. But I was like, they should just stop the
Because they're
show.
attacking.
They were
that
on top
people
though.
They're actually like.
They
that's
were on top.
interesting.
They like you should always stop. I think it's always good for a band or a show or anything to quit while you're ahead.
You know who's caught like second and third wins is fucking Family Guy.
I've heard of that.
Well, yeah,
Isn't
they
that-
almost got canceled, and then Adult Swim picked them up, right? That's
So,
what happened.
but that was like their first one. They're like later seasons now. They just have this formula down, like kind of like South Park does,
Yeah.
and it is fucking retarded.
Well, it's like no risk anymore.
It's no risk because they're like over syndicated. We're fine.
Yeah.
we're gonna do whatever the fuck we want. And I can't tell you how many times I come across a Family Guy like clip, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen this episode before. This is like in their 18th season. This
Right.
is fucking amazing. This is hilarious. It's just like their old shit, and it's funny how like
Well, that thing can't really
Simpsons-
get old, you know.
Right, but like Simpsons kind of did because like their voice actors are dying left and right or getting canceled. And
yeah,
they're
not only
discontinuing
that,
characters.
Like why I don't want like because Simpsons was founded in like the late 80s into the early 90s. So for it to be 2015 and Bart Simpson is still 10, it's weird. It's a
little weird.
It's weird because he's kind of still beholden to the 90s. Like that's where the Simpsons really exist.
That's really interesting.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I feel the same way about South Park. They're kind of the 2000s. Now we're in the 2020s. It's like, okay, the boys need to be, and they did the whole thing with them as adults, but with cartoon, as it comes to a certain point where either you need to do like Rugrats all grown up kind of
Yeah.
deal and reboot the show and like make it something different,
Or like you said, all good things should come to an
or
end.
just come to an end. Like quit while you're on top. Like The Office,
They tried to continue. But
they tried to
realized-
continue, then they stopped, which was still cringe. But at least you had like it was only like 3 seasons after Michael Scott left.
And
And the
Robert
last
California
episode was a banger.
amazing. Yeah, it was.
Which one?
The last episode of the series was
The Office was
I mean,
great.
it was
I appreciated the later seasons
Yeah.
for a fucking like funny sitcom for what it was. Especially, I think
It got
there's,
pretty absurd.
which is okay because you had all the storylines that you cared about kind of run their course, and then they
It
ended
felt
up
weird.
getting closure later.
Right.
In the
It felt weird,
show.
like it's as if the credits had already rolled, but the movie didn't just kept filming.
It's like you followed them to the after party.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit.
and then they're like,
You guys are doing coke.
that was just my that was just
But
that's just how
that
I
is
felt about
definitely
it.
not coke, it's just meth and you're snorting.
It's always good to stop at a certain point, and I don't think I'm anywhere close to that stopping point. And some people don't have their stopping point is when they die. That's totally
fair.
fine.
Well, maybe that's just like the shows have to die because like there's no more people to make it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like more like the staff and then the legacy staff to create it and make it and write it.
But I respect Tarantino for stopping after this next film he's gonna make.
Seriously, I think
I didn't hear about that.
so.
Yeah, he said he's gonna make his 10th film and he's gonna stop. Like he's gonna make 10 films and stop. And he's gonna do
Whoa.
other things. He's gonna write a stage play. He's gonna write a book or whatever.
he is talking about a series.
Yeah, he's
It's
gonna do
really
other
cool.
things, but he's not gonna make any more movies. Like that, his plan was to always make 10 films.
Do you have a least favorite Tarantino, like a Tarantino movie you just do without?
Jackie Brown's forgettable.
Okay, I knew you were gonna say that, and
No,
he
but
didn't
it's
write
not my
that.
least favorite. He did direct it.
It was well, it's based on the
It's his third film.
Elmore Leonard,
Yeah, okay, that's
which
true.
I
It's
love
based off a
Elmore
book.
Leonard.
That's not my
so
least favorite
much.
though. I think Kill Bill might be my least favorite, which
The volume 1 or just the pair of them?
just the pair of them. He counts them as one.
Yeah,
so
of course.
I'd
That's why I
say, and
asked.
the thing is, like Kill Bill 1 is very like hot and spicy. Kill Bill 2 is like slow burner.
Yeah.
and doesn't really like lead up to anything besides the fight in the trailer scene. I like all of his films. I like all of them, but but Kill Bill was the only one that felt like the most, not to be associated with the color scheme, but it is very like red, like McDonald's.
Yeah.
The McDonald's of his movies.
Interesting.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, that's what got me in as a kid. I was
But
like, what's this?
he was
You know?
but that was the style he was going after anyways. Just like the kind of he was
Pulpy,
combining
pop,
spaghetti westerns with samurais with cheesy Japanese kung fu movies, and he did it. But when you compare that to like say just like the 40-minute dialogue scene in Inglourious Bastards when they're in the basement. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's so good. It's like, or The Hateful Eight. It's just
Inglourious Bastards is my favorite.
when he flexes his ability to write dialogue and just like draw a scene out to where it's like you're lost in what the characters are saying, to where you forgot you existed.
you forgot
You're
were there
so
watching
invested in the
movie.
dialogue.
You're like, oh my god, like you were just pulled in. I don't think there's anything that really does that. Anyone who does that quite as well. And I know this is like so redundant, like white guy podcast, like, oh, we're just talking about
Yeah, we
South
love
Park and Kill Bill.
Tarantino. But we gotta tap into all the white boy stuff. Come on, while we're here.
I made an N-word joke immediately.
Dude.
When Noah came in.
It's like
I
those
think I ticked
motivational
all the
speakers-
boxes. I think I have to go, act
Those
technically.
motivational. Yeah, you're
think I have
maxed
to-
out. You have to go now.
I think I have to end the show
Yeah.
right there. There's no more.
You've done all. Yeah,
Last episode.
you
I
have
think I'm
nowhere
just circling the
You
drain
have nowhere
here.
to move now. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
just like chasing your tail. It's like those motivational speakers. Like the real N word is never.
Oh my god! I've never been called a never before.
Yeah. Don't ever tell yourself that it's never gonna happen, because you gotta believe.
I've never had my ass kicked for calling someone a never. I've never had a blue-haired chick not suck my dick because I said never.
But she came back with, "I'll never do that again."
I've never watched a Tarantino movie and they said never 82 times.
That's true, and that's actually true. I forget what I was going with the Tarantino thing. There was.
I was asking which was your favorite, least favorite, etc.
I don't know if I have a favorite necessarily. I know like Kill Bill and Jackie Brown were the ones that like did the least for me when I revisited them like a year ago. I revisited them while I was sick, and it was a great time.
I love that, like, we think we're so great. We revisit stuff. We don't just, I'll watch it again. Like, we have to revisit it because it's such a, like, interface now. Like, everything
It's
we're
been
doing,
like
we're
10
like,
years since I saw him. You know, like I'm not a kid anymore.
I know, but like,
It's like, does
if
it
I
hold up?
watched, like, Land Before Time, I'd just be like, oh, I fucking watched that movie as an adult. I don't know if I could say revisited Land Before Time 7.
That was the Beyond the Mysterious Beyond, wasn't it?
I don't know. That
That
was
was
just,
like
I
the
just
one-
remember the Roman numerals,
Yeah,
man.
I remember 7. That one kind of messed with my head because it was like I don't remember what the plot was, but there's like these two dinosaurs saying that they're from another. I think it's insinuated those two dinosaurs are aliens.
Damn,
It was
fucking
like-
that series really
And
fucking
I
took
remember-
a nosedive.
and
I'm
and
glad.
The music gave
Talk
me
about
goosebumps.
talk about things that should have ended.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. Land Before Time 7. You know, that doesn't sound good.
It doesn't roll off the tongue.
Neither
That's why they have the
neither-
Roman numerals.
Yeah, but neither did episode 7. And you know what? It really didn't roll off the
I
tongue.
liked.
You thought you did.
No, what was the one? The everyone hated.
You thought you liked episode 7.
6, 7, 8. Number 8. I like number 8.
Oh, motherfucker.
Episode
We can't
8.
talk anymore.
8 was it The Last Jedi? Yeah. Rise of Skywalker was a piece of fucking dumb
Dude,
garbage.
I'm sorry.
I've never felt so
The-
smacked in the face by a movie in my life than that last
You
Star
have
Wars
Stockholm
movie.
syndrome if you like The Last Jedi.
I liked that one.
What
for
did you
me,
like about it?
It was literally. Here's the thing: is they just remade the original trilogy in modern
It was
ways.
garbage.
Let me
It was
finish. Let me
garbage.
finish.
Keep
Hold on.
going. Okay.
Hold on. We're not dating. I can talk. So it was obviously like Force Awakens. Definitely. God, we are so fucking.
We got off the
Dorks.
rails. We got off the rails.
How do we do this? Oh my god.
We
what
can
a-
edit this out.
I think I just want to edit the whole episode out. Now,
I
I
think
don't
we're-
want to talk about Star Wars. Which one do you want?
We're working our way to the real episode.
I'll try the green one.
Working our way to the real episode.
That's all right. I want to get back to you as a musician because
What did I miss?
We started talking about Star Wars and we're just like, okay,
fucking rabbit hole.
we got off the rails, man. Okay.
yeah, what was that word you used earlier?
Yeah,
Incel.
yeah, we can get rid of, and then we start using the N word. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we're good. We gotta.
We were saying never. That
Oh,
was
right,
the end.
right.
You were there. Yeah. You didn't just leave the room and we get super anti woke all of a sudden.
I mean, I get to edit this.
He doesn't listen. There's so many facts about my life that he just goes over his head because he's not actually
Wait, what are
listening.
you talking about? Because he
Who's
didn't write it
Dallas?
in his calendar. That's why.
Yeah.
If it's not in his calendar,
funny.
it doesn't. If it's not in his calendar, it doesn't
funny.
exist.
That's kind of how I feel. I have a calendar and I do like a day planner thing and I write everything in that fucker. And if it's not on there, I forget it happened or it didn't happen. I love these things. I'm so addicted to them now.
Yeah,
They're very
I
helpful
don't
for life.
plan things unless they're essential. Like
Like,
I had to write down I'm doing a podcast.
Yeah, what was that
Wow.
like? How did this happen?
He said, "Hey, want to do a podcast?" And I just said yes. And then and know what he does? He does. It's like this weird abusive thing he does. It does remind me of an abusive relationship.
Yeah, his
with John
wife was
sometimes.
telling me about
He
it.
goes.
It's domestic abuse.
He goes, "Do you want to be on a podcast?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I automatically just trust that if he's gonna invite me to be on a podcast, that it's gonna be a good thing. and he says, and he comes back after he offers to put me on a podcast. He says, "Don't you at least want to know what it is before you say yes?"
He's like, what's the matter with you?
Yeah,
You just agree
exact-
to anything.
Oh
you
my
dumb
god! Yeah,
bitch."
exactly.
He's like, he's gonna find out who it is and what it's called and what it's about. This is not gonna go well. That's him like panicking, like you're not even gonna ask what it's.
well,
Yeah.
to be honest, I'm surprised I haven't thought of this sooner. It's perfect.
God, so fucking full of himself. You can't get enough. A black hole of fucking ego. right there.
He's a taker.
I can't believe I didn't think of that
I know.
sooner.
And it's like, yeah, you gotta just always validate. Like, yeah, John,
What's
you're really
it like
good.
being able to suck your own dick? I've tried.
Let me tell you, it feels so good. And you
Yeah.
guys need me to suck my own dick.
That's true. Yeah, because you don't want a producer who's like, I don't know. You need someone who's like crushing it, slam, print, cut, edit. You know.
That's true. I have never. There's nothing attractive about a leader who's unsure of himself.
Oh, well, let's not talk about politics right now. You know, I don't. We don't need to go
No
there.
one wants to hear us all agree with each other.
Yeah,
But that was the only reason we brought up Star Wars. That's like the one thing we're gonna end up disagreeing on.
Yeah.
So, but we're gonna edit that part out. We want to get back to the music thing. I
just wanted to know, like,
Tarantino. Just quit while you're ahead. How did we get the?
Yeah, so this is going to be the last Dead Magic record.
No.
he's like, fuck.
No. What we did an EP. We're doing an LP right now. You got to ask questions. I'm sorry. We got to.
No, absolutely. No, it's totally fine. So you were telling me all the way through spaces between and how meeting John at the pizza place and creating the record and owing him money.
And then so I assembled the band. I knew if I started recording the record, I would assemble the band. So I assembled the band, simultaneously teaching them songs we would record after. I was very all over the place. And so I get why one guy who was at the beginning process still has this weird irritation with me, because when I brought him into the band,
can't imagine why.
I started teaching him.
He's talking about the drummer.
No, I'm sorry. So I started teaching him, like him and the other band members, songs that were after the EP that I was currently recording, because they were the songs that I was supposed to like. I wrote these songs over the course of 2 years. I'm like, these are the songs that are going to take their time. And the people who come in and play them, it's like everyone's going to be able to make their own part, which has been the case. And it's the album we're currently finishing up right now.
And I imagine...
But this is 2020.
Okay.
Right? And now it's 2023. We're finishing it up right now.
Nice.
And so I'm like, well, once we learn this, then we'll learn the songs that are on the EP, because by the time we're done learning these songs, the EP will be almost done, which was the case.
Yeah, to your credit.
Which was the case. It took a lot longer than I thought it would, even for that matter.
Maybe you should plan to do things quicker. Maybe that should be essential.
You know, it was funny because it's like, you know how you ever see like a foreman walk onto a job site and be like, yeah, it should take about 6 weeks, and then it ends up being like 3 months.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, the guy who doesn't fucking lift a finger over there?
Right.
Yeah, no, I didn't think
it's
so.
always, and that's the guy who goes, well, I always imagine it being 10 times longer than what you think it's going to be. But it's the same thing in construction.
That's what I tell women.
It
Well,
ends up being 2 seconds.
Here's a question. You've done a lot of projects. Has it always been this case through every project? Has it always taken longer than expected?
Well, okay, so we did that solo EP, right? About a year ago, a little over a year ago in December. Actually, the idea came to me in the summer of 2021. I thought, oh, I'll go visit my buddy. I had this buddy in Austin, Texas, who wanted to make just record me. So I was like, oh, I'll do his stripped down, like me and the guitar kind of style, and we'll just knock it out within 2 days. Well, lo and behold, this guy was kind of inept at recording anybody who wasn't him. I'm not gonna name his name because I love the guy to death, but he was disinterested. Like we would like be sitting there, he'd hit record, and then I'd start playing. And I look up, and he'd be on his phone looking at pants, like shopping for pants. So I was like, okay, he's not involved. So what ended up happening? He goes to work, and I just did demos on his. I essentially did demos that I'd already done on my phone, just on this guy's recording software. Came back home from Austin, saw some dope bands, but overly was just kind of depressed. And I showed John these demos, and he just goes, oh, why don't we just do this? We could just do it right here in your living room. Yeah. And we knocked it out in a weekend. Well, 2 weekends, but due to other forces at play. But we knocked out these 5 songs in essentially a weekend. But due to Dead Magic having an EP also in the works and all that needing to get done, we didn't actually release the EP till a year after we had done that.
Yeah.
But
the point is we're getting shit done.
We got it done really quickly. We just didn't get it out really quickly.
So, are you playing shows with the Dead Magic material?
We're playing about 2 to 3 shows a month.
That's really cool. Where do you play most often?
Usually Barrel House, Tap Room and Slow, and Frog and Peach.
Cool.
We've done that a few times, and then what's the other place we like to play a lot?
What shows do you have coming up right now?
We've got
You got this.
Yeah, where are we playing? We're playing Barrel House on Friday the 4th, I think.
February 4th.
February 4th? Is that a Saturday or Friday?
I'm not sure, but
it's February 4th. We're playing Barrel House in downtown San Luis Obispo.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's all we got lined up. I haven't done any booking yet.
You know what time? Your build?
We're going to be going 9 to 11.
9 to 11, right on.
Yeah, you can follow us for all updates on Dead Magic Official on Instagram. You can also find us at deadmagicofficial.com.
You have a Facebook page?
No. Oh, well, we do, but I don't use
you guys
it.
really?
Yeah, I don't think anyone does. There's a bad
The only people lurking on Facebook are people like you, but you blocked me, so you won't see it.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know?
Yeah. You know what?
Circle.
I've gone back through recently and unblocked people that I just
I actually destroyed my Facebook. The
You
one you
destroyed
blocked me on, I deleted it permanently.
Oh, so that's why you're fine. We're fine.
Yeah.
How funny
It's
is?
erased.
I thought you were gonna walk in here and be like, "Oh, so I'm doing a podcast with the faggot who blocked me."
Oh no, no. I always just remember we had a good repertoire. You knew Sonny.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I knew Sonny from way back when we were little kids. And
Oh, so you went
did
to
we go
school
to
with
his parties together?
Yeah.
Over at
His dad's house.
yeah. Oh my god, dude, epic fucking
Yeah.
place, epic parties. I didn't drink or smoke back then, and I still had so much fucking.
You were
fun
a
there.
straight edge kid.
I think I might have started drink. No, yeah, I was straight edge back then.
You were
I
straight
didn't even
edge.
drink, and I had so much fun at those parties.
You know,
That
I
shit's
remember a kid. My first exposure to straight edge kid was a comment thread on Facebook. This one kid from Lompoc going off about how people need to have more sensitivity towards and like respect towards people who are straight edge.
I have a couple people in mind that I think it could be.
Yeah, I think you probably know these people, who this guy
100%,
was.
100%.
And I remember the comment thread just reading through it. And I
Damn.
think you actually might have been the guy who posted, like, trolled him back by just posting a GIF of the Edge from you too.
No, I wasn't that good. Someone else put that there.
Okay,
I didn't even know, how to-
what the comment thread was. You remember this conversation?
No way.
So I literally remember who this is and what this was about because I literally was like, I posted something and I was like, man, fuck Edge, smoke weed every day. Like I like was immediately like, here's the thing.
But
is-
you were totally joking is the whole point.
I
And
have
then this
this-
one guy just like comes up in arms like, I, however, am straight edge.
Yeah.
And how dare you? How insensitive, you know?
No way.
And like, yeah, it was like this, like, this was the hill this guy was going to die on, was like, your Facebook joke is so offensive to myself.
You have no fucking idea how good that is right now.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I put a joke on Facebook this week and Zach Honeycutt's girlfriend, who he lives with in Colorado, fucking posted on her Instagram story for 3 days straight talking about it and like dragging me. And
She dragged you through the mud?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't fucking watch it, but tried to. And it was so fucking. I have had so many people come up to me and be
Wait, like, do you
"What
mean when
is-"
she like shared it for like 3 days, she was doing like a whole like, this is the problem.
Yeah.
This
she
right
was,
here.
like, canceling
She
me
was
or
like,
something.
this is exactly the problem with young white men today.
Pretty much. I mean, that's so like I watched the first.
This is
video
exactly
and
the
I'm
kind of
like,
mentality. you
Got
know,
like
that-
her friend. Wow, did you watch these videos?
No,
it sounds
this
exactly
is-
like
this is where I
got
learned
like
this talk
someone
was
else
from-
to start talking about it.
No, it was always like these. I just remember.
Do you
I
wanna hear
got
the joke?
language. Well, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was I was like praying to God that we could have a solution for all the homeless people in Lompoc. I didn't know that he was gonna drown them in the riverbed and wash
was a
their
good
bodies away with the storm.
This is exactly the problem with young white humor. But I became acquainted with like people who talk like this from Santa Maria, Lompoc, woke people, circa like 2011 to 2015. I remember 2015, that comment thread I'm talking about, the straight edge comment thread. I remember realizing there's something wrong. Like we're moving in a weird direction. This is 2015.
That's right.
And then like, and then a night after, I remember the new season of South Park aired and they introduced PC Principal. I'm like, this is just like that straight edge guy.
This is That's
And like that's what they
No
call
way.
it. They call it PC now. It's like that's when politically correct stopped being politically correct and became PC. Then PC became woke.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it was like Frieza just going.
Yeah.
Like this isn't. You haven't even seen my final form.
Yeah.
But I think the pendulum is swinging back. Either that or just the conservatards are doubling down.
I haven't heard conservatards
And
libtards and conservatards. You need to have something with more brevity than that. What's a good? Go ahead. I'm sorry. I want to hear
is
what
that
you're
is
gonna say.
did I lose points for conservatards?
No, you didn't. But I was thinking libtards is really succinct. Keep talking, please.
Well, you just know what I mean. It's like it's just like
swinging
it's
back.
just all the fucking. It's like people like you and me, these white boy edgelords that are just like free speech, and it's like It's like free speech. You know what I mean? Like, you're infringing on my free speech. It's like, no, there's just a time and place to be funny, and you're not funny kind of deal. And I'm guilty of that. I get it.
Hey, man, I'm sure someone thinks you're funny.
Enough people do to where I'm still allowed to like exist comfortably.
I can't believe that.
I actually exist in a commune. I live in a commune.
The one that got flooded?
No.
Okay. I mean, the length of your hair told me you fucking live in a commune.
Yeah.
You damn hippie. I don't have my olfactory senses, so I can't smell
Are you talking
you.
about the commune in Morro Bay?
No.
Because there is a commune in Morro Bay.
It's like this nice house that like people rent rooms in it.
Where is it?
My buddy Will. It's like between Slough and Morro Bay. Buddy, and it's not.
It's
important.
off the one, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, my guitarist used to live there.
Yeah,
So did my
okay.
ex-girlfriend.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the
Oh, what
landlord-
happened?
the
They ended up hooking up, and that's why she's your ex. Nice.
No, she tried to fuck him though. Actually, when we broke up.
Good
as
for
payback.
her. Good for her.
How empowering! It's like, yes, queen.
Yeah. Also, how annoying is it when you're like in a relationship and there's someone around and you don't know what their cock tastes like? You imagine the pain and torture this woman went through knowing there was a guitarist around and that couldn't finger pick her clit.
Well, here's how he brought it. How he brought it up. He said,
Oh, what a fucking
he told
bro,
me, he's like,
dude.
He goes, I'm like, and I was actually saying like, yo, dude, like I was actually showing like genuine affection, like just at like gratitude. And he goes, yeah, I'm such a good friend. I didn't fuck your like what's her name last night. And I just like, wait, what? It was like that. And he goes, well, I feel like if I tell you, I won't do it.
Whoa.
Or he will say something like that because he did, or he can and will and is.
Well, at this
gonna.
point, I told him you should, and it's like he's
Right.
so like he would if you.
Yeah, what's her number? I mean, what's her name? No. You're very supportive over there. I feel like we're friends.
What, are you in a polyamorous relationship? Because I
No,
like,
I am not in a polyamorous relationship.
do you want to be?
Sure. No, fuck no.
It's really healthy.
No
So,
disrespect to all 19 people in two polyamorous relationships that listen to this podcast.
Dude, I hope that everybody, it's like all 19 people who listen to this are all polyamorous.
19 people 4 years ago.
I know at least 2. That's it.
How they doing?
Oh, they broke up.
You know, that's the funny thing about the polyamory is it always ends in.
Yeah, that's the weird
It
thing.
runs its course because
It runs its
it's
course.
still a relationship.
But here's the thing.
It's a relationship that you are allowed to practice openness in, which is cool.
So that's actually just a healthy relationship between people, like two people. I think that polyamory is like a misstep, and there's this weird backlash defensiveness, like Lompoc people. The polyamorous people get where they like start attacking like monogamous relationships, and people in monogamous relationships are just like sitting over here like, who the fuck was talking to you? And they do it so like they do like a counterterrorism to monogamy, but
Yeah.
it's like no one was fucking saying anything. You're the one who doesn't have faith in your own dynamic that you have going on.
I remember this one girl recently said to me, she goes, she said polyamory is a trauma response. But she's also one of those people that says everything. She actually did say that. She goes, everything's a trauma response.
Yeah, that's fucking funny. It might be.
It,
I mean, who knows?
I mean, but okay.
I wouldn't say that's some fucking
wouldn't-
some pandering, like backpedaling, like excuse making bullshit.
Everything's a trauma. But here's
Is
the thing
what it
about
sounds
like
like.
maybe
But-
that's true to a certain extent that everything is like is a result from your. Maybe this is a me problem. Like I
Bring it
feel
on. It's your
gross saying
episode.
the trauma you endured as a child, but if everything's a trauma response, that means you're always coming from this place of reaction. Like you're always reacting. And there are plenty of people I know who endured a lot of heavy stuff as in their childhood and late teens, early adulthood. And most things they did weren't really a reactive sort of thing.
Yeah.
Even if it's, I guess if everything's a trauma response, even being correctional to your behavior and altering yourself is reacting to trauma by dealing with it.
Yeah, I think labeling everything that is more of like a lack of communication or the inability to talk something through. The inability to not take responsibility for your own actions, but instead place some sort of blame on something trivial in your past. And as much as I would love to go down like a highlight reel of all the like lame shit I had to go through, I really think personal responsibility for my actions and the consequences for those fucking actions are so much more interesting and accurate and have helped me go way farther than worrying about all that old bullshit.
Right, but so at a certain point, I had it for a minute there. I just totally lost
I
it.
kind of blabbed. I'm sorry.
No. You did a great job.
Thank you.
You did a great job. With trauma response, if you're reacting to trauma,
But if you're trying to fix it, then that's still a reactionary response.
Damn.
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, when you said that, that kind of like showed me like like correctional behavior. If what I'm doing
There's
is
always something
a
to be
trauma
fixing.
response, then that's what makes it kind of like cyclical and like a lack of conversation. You're just circling that.
So
drain
it kind of, I mean, I'm not necessarily saying it's not wrong, because most things, if they are a trauma response, because it's basically just another way of saying life is pain. But in a lot of ways, it's like you're just, it's just another way of how you cope with pain, the pain of your existence.
And there's some things that we interface with, the three of us individually, that might be traumatic to you, not to you,
Yeah.
but to me, and vice versa. Whereas like, oh, I could put up with that stuff and I wouldn't worry about it. Is that now trauma because I was unfazed by it? So it's very trivial and it's a huge excuse, but it might be like a
Oh, this is what I
helpful-
remember what it was going to be. People like to get, like nowadays, we're like the millennials and the Gen Zs were very much, the thing I will give us credit for is that we are the kind of the generation that sits and tries to like, let's sort out this shit and like air it out and see why we're doing what we're doing. Versus both generations prior, baby boomers were neglectful and negligent as parents, but their whole thing was like, they're gonna go out and get it. Gen X was like the whole like, I don't even know I'm here. And then millennials is like, and Gen Z is like, give us our cake and let us eat it too.
Yeah, I like that.
We're very much that kind of
because
generation.
We're taking like a deeper look at the fine print of life, I think.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean we have the qualities that the previous generations have, but maybe
I
pluck
think
in
we're the
some of
first
them.
generation as a collective that is actually like looking at it.
Yeah, it's weird. It kind of makes it feel like there's some finality to life in general.
In what way?
Like maybe like human civilization. To me, I feel like we're
Oh yeah, we're
I
definitely
feel-
heading there.
I feel like we're like the last people to turn the lights off before we shut up shop. Close
down shop. I
you know?
agree with that.
And that I feel
'cause
like
my
that's
main
why
thing
we're
is,
so reflective.
I think the one downside of that is, I think
like the
it's more of like a angsty thing to do anyway. It's a younger, like late teen, it's like teens and early 20s, early mid 20s thing to do. It's like getting caught up in the why. Like why something happened or why you do the things you do or whose fault is it. And looking for somewhere for this is the reason why this happens. Like always. But most people who are at peace with it are kind of like of the mentality of like, that happened. And that's it. And it starts and ends because like it can't you can't continue to let it define you.
do you feel like that's where you're arriving this late in your 20s to where you're like, well, that just fucking happened. I just gotta put up with
because
that the way it is.
because my realization once I stopped blaming people and I'm like and I feel like I'm a little late to I'm like I call myself like a late bloomer for but it's not a race anyway, but got to this point where I remember realizing recently, actually this is another epiphany aha moment I had while I was sober for December, was looking back on the last 5-6 years around the time I wanted to do the dead magic thing and realizing how much of my choices I'd made during that time, whether it was what I was going to do for work, where I was going to live, what I was going to do in terms of long-term goals, how many of those things I didn't actually think through. And how much of it I just like, well, I just got to do this, and I chugged through it all, and I just grinded, and I stuck my head down, and I just just dug through the whole thing, burrowed through the whole thing. But I realized like I made that way harder than it needed to be by doing that. Like most of my past the hardships I endured over the last 6 years, I chose
self-inflicted.
we're all self-inflicted. And a lot of them were really there were a few traumatic ones here and there, but most of that was me just kind of reacting. Everything was always in a reactionary state.
Do you like who you are having
Currently,
gone through those?
Yeah, I mean, I always liked myself to a certain degree. It's always been paired with like this, just this. I'm not gonna call it debilitating, but just this. In some way, or not even crippling, but in some ways, just self-defeating, low self-esteem. Just like crushing low self-esteem to where I'm gonna do like the way I cope with low self-esteem is the kind of self-sabotage instead.
So, are you comfortable enough with having low self-esteem that you don't try to improve self-esteem? Or do things
up until
to
recently,
improve it?
yeah, that was kind of like the thing. Well, it's like, well, I guess I'm this. So
Why recently? Was this the sobriety in December?
The sobriety was connected to it, yeah. Of like, I kind of started. I wanted to improve it this last year in 2022 was when I made the decision of, I need to fix something. There's something here that needs to be looked at. I need to fix my approach, and it got to a certain point where because I spent the first 2 months, January and February 2022, sober. Not that alcohol's been a thing, but it had become more prevalent in my life since COVID.
Yeah.
That's the case with a lot of people. A lot more people started drinking. But I took the first 2 months sober. It was really boring. That was the worst part. It was very boring. And I realized, like, okay, drinking's not the problem. It's something else. And then I decided to spend the rest, like the majority of 2022, I spent leaning into my self-indulgent side in a way I hadn't exercised before. As in, I did it unapologetically. And it was a lot of fun for the first 3/4 of the way. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. And I got good positive results. Like, I got
fun.
Yeah,
excitement.
It was fun, excitement,
Good times.
Yes, good times, verbal affirmation,
Nice.
things like that. And then I reached a point where Dead Magic won second place for the New Times Music Awards here in SLO. This like little contest thing where you submit a song. We won second place. And I didn't even expect us to place. But the cool thing about it was the people who won first weren't able to play the award show, which is what the prizes essentially is. You get like a trophy, and then you get to play the show. But they couldn't play it, so they let us, the second place people, we got to play the show. And it was like this cool, like coming to a head moment of, it's like we finally like get to be on a real stage with real lights, and we killed it. And I was very drunk for the whole thing, even though I apparently still did a really good job. Because of nerves, I like decided I needed to drink, and then realized how drunk I was. Oof. And then I get home with probably drank and drove, which is terrible. And I felt like celebrating. I smoked a joint with like some of my housemates. Like, oh, I'm on top of the world. I'll smoke a joint. I hadn't been high in like a year. And you know how the tolerance thing works.
Obliterated. Yeah.
Suddenly, I'm aware of my own existence, and I'm standing in a semicircle with like 4 people. I realize like I barely know these people, and then it hits me like I've been living in this like communal living housing with people. I have no idea of how they actually think of me, and then I started thinking about myself and the decisions I had been making, all these self-indulgent decisions I'd been making this whole last 8 months, and it all just like weighed down. It all just hit me all at once, and then I realized what this big night I just had, what that really was.
Punctuation.
What do you mean?
Go ahead. I'm
okay,
sorry.
so this big night I just had was this whole kind of like me trying to be the Michael Anthony jumping around, if you will, because he's a mythological figure. I realized like the thing that I'm seeing him as a 14-year-old, I'm chasing this fantasy that I've had since I was 14. And I've now like moving into becoming that thing, but that thing isn't actually a real person. And that thing doesn't actually define who I am as a human being. What defines me as a human being are all these self-indulgent decisions I've made in this last 8 months that actually really hurt me and hurt other people. And I went to bed hating myself on this, what should have been like a big, good night where I go to bed feeling like accomplished. I went to bed hating myself, realizing like, I don't actually believe in this thing I'm chasing as much. The music thing, I'm still like going after it. Like I love it to death. It's the most important thing, sure. But that I finally had this moment of realizing like it doesn't. The work I put into anything is important. Not even just the music thing. Like the work I put into my normal shitty day job, which I actually like both my shitty day jobs, or the work I put in just to like living with people, or any intent I put into life is like what is most crucial.
Have you ever heard how you do anything is how you do everything?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's true. But I hadn't taken that approach to really like being like I had this thing that I became aware of it with living with 19 other people. I had this thing called that I self-diagnosed as I have post compassion or post empathy. Like I don't realize I actually care about the way I make people feel after I've already done it and then sat and thought about it, and then all of a sudden I feel like
that's just a conscience, dude. It's okay to have, and
yeah,
it's important. And I would hate if I walked away from a podcast and didn't have some of that, because no matter how, if I interject, if I make a joke, or if I don't listen well enough, I'll have some of that. It just means that you care, and it's a good sign,
right?
In my opinion, in my like armchair.
But self-awareness, it's true. But
way.
Like self-awareness, I remember Bo Burnham saying this in his latest special. He's like, self-awareness doesn't actually improve anything. I'm paraphrasing. He's like, doesn't self-awareness like make you a better person? But he's like, he doesn't actually improve anything.
Yeah,
it
you
just
can be
means
completely self-aware of being a piece of shit.
Yeah, you're just self-aware. It doesn't actually do anything. And it was like cool because I remember I know in a lot of ways it was a callback to like his second special, where most of that whole skit was based off of his own self-awareness of breaking down what an entertainer is.
Yeah.
And I remember when it was like that came out in 2013. I remember I saw it live before the special had come out. I saw it live on the tour, and my mind was blown. I remember thinking like, this guy's amazing.
Yeah.
But then here he is, like fast forward 10 years later, and it's like it didn't actually help anything. You're just deconstructing the shit out of everything, and where that leaves you is where he's at in that latest special, which is he's alone in his house
in this
with just
fucking
himself,
room.
and he's still making his fucking jokes, and he's still making his music, but he's miserable.
So good,
but he's
though.
so miserable for it.
It's an award winner for sure.
God damn it, Dante, go away! Okay. Hey, we decided we're gonna use we probably should ask permission to use 26 as as
long as I get the royalties.
for this episode. We want to use 26 as the segue music.
Oh, like
Yeah, but I
How
really
the fuck does he know what the hell is that?
because it's his song. It's like
He knows. Well, you're just sitting there listening the whole time. You're like, they're gonna talk about me. I'm gonna walk in any second now.
I'm gonna wait till they talk about
because we made this joke before.
Okay.
The diddle-diddle.
All right,
Like
fair
it's
enough.
been we've like kind of like
I guess I
self-imposed-
should have assumed that.
We kind of self-impose memes of our own music onto each other.
Dante has the voice of someone with a huge cock.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. If I could like pick a voice and I was like creating an avatar, I'd pick like that one.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
It does kind of sound like mythological like protagonist voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like what's the
Lancelot.
Princess Mononoke guy?
Sure.
Kind of that kind of voice.
I don't know.
I want to see through eyes unclouded by hate, kind of thing.
What's that? Yeah, I've never heard you do me. Wow.
That was horrible.
Well, you're more like sweet, yeah.
You have that. What are the fucking TikTokers called? Like golden retriever energy about you.
Oh, I don't know about that. We've got some golden retrievers in here. Yeah, we've had some. My bass
dick
player is
energy.
kind of like a golden retriever, but that probably would hurt his feelings if you heard me say that.
Blonde, okay. Is he blonde?
Oh, is he blonde? Who cares about his feelings? He's fine. He's the master race, it sounds like. He'll be okay.
The blue eyes.
Should we take a break? Are you getting what you need out of this podcast? Because I really don't think we should use all of it.
You know what? It's really not up to you, bud.
Oh, that's
I
good.
appreciate it, though.
By the way, I'm here to kick you out.
Oh, right now.
The bass drop.
Might be the time. Let's wrap it.
Oh, damn. Okay, cool. You didn't have me sign anything though.
You know what? If you want a release to sign, I do have them. I just didn't bring them with me.
Damn. Okay. Well, that's good.
I don't know if I've ever talked about those on air, but yeah, I do have guest release forms that I would have the majority of people sign.
Oh.
But just liability for like anything they might say that they're regret or anything, any powers I have over it falling back on me and me being able to remove, edit, and post and articulate whatever they say or I say. And
What if I just ask really nice?
yeah, that'd be fine too. Yeah, like I have a couple friends. One, she got a really good job with like working with the public, and she said, "Hey, I think I said some things that were from a less mature version of myself, and I don't really want those out there if I'm working like this." So I'm like, all right. You know what I mean? And then I had another friend who ran for city council somewhere in the South, and he was like, "Hey," and I was like, "Dude, say no more. Thank you for asking." Like, he's like, "I'm so sorry to ask." And I'm like, "Don't even worry about it. I would rather my friend go do great things than me have a fucking podcast."
Well, I think they
internet.
forget
You know
that
what
they're
I
in a
mean?
podcast talking to you is probably a part of it.
Yeah.
What's your favorite, least favorite Tarantino film?
least favorite Tarantino film? God, that's
Was that a segue or was that?
No.
it's a circle. It was circling.
It was
back.
when we got at one point this podcast. Surprisingly,
You know what?
you'd probably be surprised, but this podcast got off the rails at one point.
You know what?
I believe that.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think it might be Hateful Eight.
Hateful Eight.
Might be my least favorite because I've watched that one the most in recent years, but I don't think I like that
It's the
one.
least rewarding.
It's the least rewarding, but I still like it the same. You ready to wrap this fucking show up?
I guess so.
7 more minutes.
Okay, that's fine with me.
Really?
Yeah. What's the ETA for?
Laundry. Yeah, my roommate goes laundry in there.
Oh, just do the laundry.
He's particular.
I understand.
Sorry.
What a sweetheart. That's fine. It's his house. It's his space. It's
is,
fine.
He
Hey.
doesn't
We gotta share. That's part of the
walk
studio.
in here and be like, "Hey guys."
Hey, you guys are in here. Why don't you contribute? No. Is there anything that you would like to convey now that you have a platform or a chance to say something that might be heard by someone other than just music fans?
Other than music fans?
Yeah, well, just like
Well, I feel like I did
you
the
know?
whole thing with like the whole like my death of an ego thing got too high. Went to bed hating myself. Realized like I should.
I
Probably...
was curious what the catalyst was for that because I really am interested in self-improvement, and anytime someone takes a good hard look at themselves, which is essentially what I've been trying to do for the last
Well, the
9
night you
or
get
10
them
years,
one of the
so.
most biggest like verbal and visual affirmations to your efforts, and this is like keep in mind this is like an award show. We won second place, sure, but we got to play for everybody. We didn't win it. We didn't win best performance or anything, but we still did a damn good job. And I didn't even expect to get to that to even place second. I just wanted to at least them to know that Dead Magic was a thing and it was happening, and we actually got to play at the award show. And this is like, keep in mind, Dead Magic was a like little brainchild I had in December of 2015. 2019, I meet John. We decide we're going to make an EP. September 2020, we start recording. July of 2022 is when the EP came out.
Yeah.
All right. That took almost 2 fucking years to like just to track and release.
Good things take time.
Right. 2022,
I don't know why yours
November
took that long, though.
2022. So it's been like, okay, so December was when I first had the idea, it was December of 2015. It's November of 2022. So that's pretty much 7 years later. I'm getting, here's a paper saying good
punctuation,
job.
an affirmation,
Here's an
right?
affirmation. I go to bed hating myself because I don't like the person I've been that entire year. I've
Well-
spent that year being. So the lesson was like, well, I'll take some time being sober. Like, I'll just take a month off sober and just kind of like self-reflect and realize like, what is that? Because this isn't anybody else's fault but mine of why I don't like myself very much right now. Like, I like who I am at my root. I know I'm a good person inside, but like, what is it that is not working?
Yeah, there's something missing. There wasn't the satisfaction from that you might have thought you would deserve at that point when you get
No.
that. And it could just be like maybe guilt, like you said, for being so self-indulgent and not, working on yourself, and you go, dang, did I fucking like steal this from these people? Because like,
Right.
I got it, and we're quality people, we have good music, and we did this thing, but it wasn't the best version of myself on stage, even though it was a good performance. Maybe that's why, because
Well, I'm not. The performance
parallel
was
would be
great.
good.
The
That's
performance,
what
I
I'm
felt like
hearing.
the performance
That's what
felt
I'm
like it
hearing,
was
Mr.
great.
Ego Death, my ass.
It wasn't like I feel like we hadn't done a good job. It was like I respected the work I had put in. It was, but what it was like it was all the reasons that I was doing the work, because that's why I wasn't. That's where you get return from. Like you think you know what it is when you're chasing that dream. Like you think you know what you want, and even when you get what you want, it's never actually what you think it is. And a lot of old dudes have told me this before. Don't know what it is, and when you finally get it, you realize it's not actually what you thought it was. And in that case, I was happy to get it, but it didn't make me feel like a better person at all. It didn't do anything.
It really might just be the journey that's the satisfying part. And now that the journey of that was over, you saw the first return of it, you climbed the first wall of what that ascension was, you kind of plummet. And what that is not necessarily a negative thing, even though it might feel bad.
Yeah.
I think it's just landing back on a foundation, and you just get to ascend again, right?
Yeah.
I used to have this with my friend, this conversation with my friend all the time. We're white trash, poor, broke, fucking ugly people, and
You're
we're
not
just
ugly.
like the.
You've grown into a handsome man.
Thank you. Well, I'm still fucking broke. Okay.
You only fix one thing at a time, right?
Yeah. So it was just like, rock bottom, good foundation to have. It just means like when you hit the bottom of the way you feel, or the bottom of satisfaction, it's because it's time to build it back up to ascend. And I think it maybe take that perspective and mix it with what you have, and I think it won't hurt so bad.
Do you want to know how besides the sobriety thing?
Yeah.
What really was the
Catalyst,
thing
please.
that got me out of it
Talk to
was
me.
just getting back to work. Just getting back to work. What is the next thing, and then what's the next thing I work on?
Yeah.
Because
It's
that's
so
like
satisfying.
what it comes back to is like it's like I remember like my one friend who's a great songwriter, one of my biggest influences.
What's his name?
His name's Vincent Bernardi. You can check out his music anywhere. He said every time he would like put out a song or get an award or get like attention, he was always left with the feeling of like, now what? And I remember I always say to him when I was
It's a come
younger,
down.
it's like, now what? I'm like, you did the thing. But then I did the thing, and I was like this feeling of like, why don't I feel any better? Like, why don't I feel like, why? I thought I would like be somehow
Triumphant feeling. Maybe.
triumphant,
Glowing for a while.
Yeah, because no one, that was the thing is like, I saw Smashing Pumpkins earlier this year, like in May.
Yeah.
And I'm in the show, and at some point, a guy handed me a joint, and I hadn't been high. It was like one of those situations where I hadn't been high in a while, and I was having a good time. And I'm watching them play, and they were doing it was a great show, one of my favorite bands of all time. But then at one point, I realized like, this is kind of a circus act for them at this point. Like they've played these songs so many times, and it's kind of. And then I look at all the people, and I'm at the audience, and I go, this is kind of a nostalgic act for them at this point.
Whoa.
And I realize,
Man, you get some good ass weed every time.
Band, and I'm like, both the band and the audience in some way right now are both simultaneously just going through the motions. And then I went, no one here actually fucking cares about this in a weird way.
I mean, you're right, but you're also wrong, because they played that new song off the new album, and when he was like grooving in his fucking big dress, I was like,
You actually
he's
saw that?
stoked at
Yeah,
this. I was
yeah,
at
he
that
was
show.
stoked.
I was
I
like,
actually did like
fuck
the new
yeah.
song. Yeah.
Yeah. Good shit.
He was having a good time.
All
He was
right,
having a
all
good
right,
time. All right. Was
All
that
right.
it? We're good? Okay.
Do this again anytime. I've had a great conversation.
We could actually just talk,
you,
anytime if you're feeling lonely.
Thank you, Dante.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Thank you, John.
Of course.
It's been another episode of the Bad Etiquette Podcast, first of the year.
Dead Magic Official on Instagram. Stream Dead Magic. You can find Noah Colton inherently through that. Tagged in all the things.
February 4th, 9 to 11. It's Barrel House, San Luis Obispo.
Single.
He looks single. All right.
Well, if you don't look at
John's telling me to wrap it up. I didn't start the record button. Go fucking go over there and turn it off. I can't.